Wasabi Wallet. Unfairly private.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the show. Another week, another episode of Why Are We Bullish? Sorry for the gothic looking background. I'm on the island of Rhodes in Greece this week. And, sometimes you work with what you got. I'm basically working not by candlelight, but I've got a single light here, and I'm just outside on the porch of where I'm staying. So very excited about this episode. We've got a killer panel today. This is the Plebnet Takeover. If you don't know what Plebnet is, we will be informing you as we go. As always, hit like, subscribe, and share. All of those things really help get this content in front of more eyeballs. Without further ado, I am Ben with the BTC Sessions. This is your daily session.
Hodl the Bitcoin.
Before we dive in, of course, a quick shout out to sponsors of the show, LEDN.io, where you can use your Bitcoin for a variety of different services. If you happen to be in a pinch and you need to get your hands on dollars, but you don't want to sell your Bitcoin because, of course, that is a taxable event and you're worried about having to buy back in at a higher price, much like many other people, this can solve that problem for you. You can deposit Bitcoin, get dollars into your bank account within 24 hours. You pay back those dollars, you get back the same amount of Bitcoin. They also have their Bitcoin and USDC savings accounts with interest rates of up to 8.5% annually paid monthly, and their B2X offering. If you're feeling mega bullish, hit up the links down below to check them out. Up next, if you are stacking sats in Canada, Bitbuy is a super easy and convenient place to do it. They've got a seamless web interface. They've got a dedicated app for iOS and Android. And after your first $250 purchase, they'll give you $20 for free. So go ahead and check them out in the show notes. Now, I do live on Bitcoin, and Bitrefill really helps me on this end because I can pick up any gift card I need using Bitcoin, either via the main chain or, as I do, via Lightning Network for those cheap and easy fast transactions. And on top of that, I'm earning sats back as I spend, and they've got a killer referral program. So if you got friends and family, you can earn some kickbacks from that as well. Be sure to check them out in the show notes. You guys know the Keystone, one of my favorite and most used hardware wallets. This thing is fully air gapped, meaning you never plug it into anything connected to the internet. It's all done offline via QR code, keeping the keys to your money safe and away from internet connections. They do have dedicated Bitcoin only firmware you can upgrade to. They've got a secure element, and they work interoperably with all of my favorite wallets like Blue Wallet, Wasabi, Spectre, Sparrow. It runs the gamut, and it's awesome in a multi-sig. So show notes have them. And be sure to check out the tutorial I've done on them as well. And finally, if you're backing up any important hardware wallet or software wallet for that matter, you might want to get the thing in solid steel on the BillFodl over at privacypros.io. Why might you do that? Well, if you're just backing up your wallet via paper, you're susceptible to fire damage, water damage, or just misplacing or throwing the damn thing out if you're unfamiliar with what you're dealing with, or if a family member stumbles across it. A lot more security and peace of mind with something in solid steel. So be sure to check them out. And with that, enough of my rambling. Let's bring in today's panel, which again, I'm very excited about. All right, gentlemen, welcome to the show. This is, as I said in the intro, the Plebnet Takeover. So I've got an all-star panel, especially when it comes to Plebnet. These guys know what's up. So I'm just going to go quickly down the line and get you guys to introduce yourself. Let's basically just a quick who you are, what you do. JC, let's kick it off with you. Let people know who you are, what you do.
Sure, I'm JC Crown. Been working on Lightning related things for a long time, several years. I'm currently with a company called Zebedee, which adds Bitcoin into games. It's really cool. We're using Lightning Network to pay people literally per kill in Counter-Strike, which is one of our games. Lightning is my passion. It's why I'm here. It's what I do.
Awesome, dude. Happy to have you. Let's keep going. KP, can you let people know who you are, what you do?
Yeah, I'm KP. You can find me at Shukla on Twitter. And I got into Lightning because I do see Lightning as something which is going to help in spreading the basically Bitcoin ethos into unbanked, underbanked, and financial inclusion around the world. I work in financial services sector, and actually I do see an opportunity across the world in spreading this, and that's how I got into Lightning.
Awesome. Glad to have you. And let's keep it going. VS, let people know who you are, what you do.
Yeah, I'm VS. You can find me on Twitter, VS_trader. I'm an investor. I also do investment in venture capital companies. I run my own IT businesses. And I got into Lightning thanks to KP. I call him my mentor. And he introduced me to the node. I'm only a 1.5-month-old node operator, but seems like I've learned a lot in this process thanks to the wonderful community of Plebnet.
Awesome. That's what I love to hear. And let's pass it down the line to our last member of the panel, and the only one whose name on the screen does not consist of initials. Walton, let people know who you are and what you do.
Hey guys, I'm a Plebnet OG. I'm from the UK. It's nice to have VS joining us today, another UK Plebnet member. Very exciting stuff. I'm passionate about enabling people to take their final step in sovereignty, which is running their own Lightning node. So I promote Plebnet any chance I get, whether that's memes or podcasts or talking to anyone. Yeah, Plebnet is the one. It's the community where you can learn absolutely anything you want to know about Lightning from the people who are making the technology and developing further on it.
I love to hear that. Awesome. Well, guys, I'm happy to have you all here. And of course, anybody watching, this is Why Are We Bullish? So if you haven't watched before and you're unfamiliar, we just go by the 3 R's here really quick. Somebody's going to drop a reason why they're bullish. We're all going to riff on that reason together, and then we're going to rotate to the next person. I'm going to go a little bit different from normal. Typically, I start us off with a reason for being bullish, and I rant on it a little bit before moving on. But my reason for being bullish this week is basically directly to do with this panel, and I think it's best if somebody from the panel explains this. But my reason for being bullish this week is that Plebnet exists. So I'm going to defer to somebody from the panel to explain what the hell is Plebnet, kind of how it got started and how far it's come. So maybe like KP, do you maybe want to start us off with this and let us know what Plebnet is?
Yeah, what the heck is Plebnet? So it's pretty interesting when when we got started in Lightning, there was a Clubhouse room, and then there is a small Telegram chat group which has got the LNTX bot, and this was like late February timeframe, and we threw in the LNTX bot, and then we were all learning Lightning. There were, of course, long-term masters like JC over here and CJ and several others. They were our go-to people to actually answer question or ask any questions to them. And the way I learn, Ben, is I like to learn in communities, because guess what? That's how you get to interact with everybody and be able to actually feed off of each other. And in Bitcoin, similar in Lightning is, I don't know is a great answer. And then you go and search all sorts of details behind that. So we used to hang around in Clubhouse, and then we actually created this small group, and then we started opening channels, and we started learning about the Lightning in general. And then we were thinking about this, and then we sort of like jointly created this group called Plebnet. I think Rajwinder came up with the idea, how it throws around in a Telegram group, somebody throws a name, and there were 5 different memes about what the name means. And then Plebnet came in, and then basically it took off from there, honestly. And then this is almost 5 or 6 months. It is hard to believe that it is 6 months. And the growth after that has been tremendous. And the reason being that the folks who are actually participating in this, they help each other. And at this point of time, as of this morning, I was checking, and I'm actually stunned by this, 3,500 people. There is 670 nodes out there in Plebnet. And you know how many? I was just looking, there is almost 630 Bitcoins, 630 BTC on the nodes in Plebnet. That is a friggin' big deal. And actually, if I looked at the average size of a node, is about 95 million Satoshis. So these are not like, what it used to be a small baby Plebnet, in the month of February is like a full grown. And then guess what? Within Plebnet, you also have groups that specialize in advanced discussions, tools development. There are hardware development folks, actually. There is a group which is only for node runners. There is a group which actually only for learning and playing with LNTX parts. So it's a whole gamut. There is an umbrella of 5 different Telegram groups, believe it or not, but really well connected. And then it is evolving from there. So that's Plebnet. And if you want to participate and learn about Lightning, guess what? Just go to plebnet.org. It will land you into one of the Telegram groups. There will be tons of memes. You will find the people having a lot of fun over there. However, they are pretty serious and they all love Lightning. So that, in short, is Plebnet.
One thing I really liked that KP said was that that it's okay to say I don't know, and actually this is something that's really valued in the Bitcoin community, when people have the humility to accept that they don't know something and actually to acknowledge to other people that they don't know something. And I think that's a core part of what being a pleb is about, is knowing your own limitations and wanting to be part of a larger community and recognizing that we all have different things to learn from ourselves. So the name Plebnet really could not be better. So thanks, Rajwinder. JC.
Yeah. And KP, you really touched on a lot of things that I really love. And I do want to stress one thing too, because while now it has gotten, there are people that are very advanced, very serious. And that's one of my favorite things about it. When it started out, one of my most favorite parts was it was just a lot of people who, Lightning always felt intimidating. People didn't know how easy it was or what tools existed. And you talk to somebody about Lightning, even if they've been in Bitcoin for a while, their eyes kind of glaze where it's like, oh yeah, I don't know if I can set up a Linux computer just to do some testnet coffee shop transaction stuff. And it's like, no, it's actually huge. There's whole communities out there, all this stuff. And, and when we were new, sometimes somebody would call me a Lightning expert, and I've been doing it for a while, but I'm not a developer. I'm like, guys, I'm not an expert. I can't even send a Lightning payment in the console, on LND, but now it's gotten to the point where anybody, doesn't matter how long you've been doing this, you're going to be able to learn something from Plebnet. And the biggest thing is that the whole point of it is that you can go there knowing nothing at all, and there are going to be 100 people just like you, and you're going to be able to help each other and step by step get through it. And it's actually easier than you think. But that was I think the root of it was there's a place where people who don't know and want to learn and get with a great community of people, some of whom were not even really necessarily Bitcoiners more than 6 months ago, and they've now gone to full-blown Lightning routing operators, generating fees on hundreds of transactions a day, some of them. So it's really that's part of the magic, I think, of it. It's a place of learning for everybody.
Hey,
it's
KP,
like a tuition-free college campus. You've got lots of great minds there, people contributing their time willingly. And it's this weird social experiment, as JC says, where anyone, no matter where they're at in their journey, can learn something. It's very exciting.
KP, what was that stat? How many Bitcoin did you say roughly?
630 Bitcoins. An average node is 94 million Satoshis as of this morning.
I'm looking at
Bitbo. One third of the Bitcoins on the entire Lightning node, if I'm not wrong.
In fairness, is that calculation for outbound and inbound?
Correct. It is outbound and inbound. There is no way to know, the separation. So yeah, thanks for clarifying that. But it's still those nodes which are affiliated with our, Plebnet. The point is actually, it has grown, and it is not about Plebnet. It is about Lightning. It is about expanding Lightning. And I keep saying this in our chats and what I honestly believe in. When you have a sound money and a monetary value and a store of value like Bitcoin, and when it flies on Lightning Network across the globe, unhindered in an open, secure system, magic happens. And it will happen. We are just beginning. It is just a beginning at this point of time. And that is the beauty of this whole group and what everybody is doing there.
Yeah, I love that there's such there's the beauty of how many like just little people getting involved with this. And I'm looking at network capacity for Lightning Network right now on bitbo.io, and it's 2,373 Bitcoin. For Plebnet to have 630 of that, just of like people connecting and spinning up nodes and stuff, that's wild. That's awesome. It's you know, in the grand scheme of just finance in general, where would you see just like regular everyday people coming together to take up that much of a network and put it together? But that's the whole ethos of Bitcoin and Lightning itself, is the little guys joining in, which is super awesome. Sorry, VS, I cut you off.
Yeah, I mean, I was just saying that I remember my first discussion with KP, and I come from Bitcoin. Oh, it takes 10 minutes per block and it moves so slowly. You guys can do whatever you want, but it can never be. And then it's the eye-opening. I call it the red pill, blue pill, or orange pill moment. But when you see, and he sent me 1,000 set transaction, and it immediately appeared on my phone, and I said, wow. I'm from financial technology as well, and I know sending a similar transaction over a Swift network from Americas to via various channels back to UK, it will take me 2 days, 3 days. And that was an eye-opening moment. And now any small person can do it. It's not that you need to put $1 billion infrastructure behind it. You just spin up a node and it works.
Yeah, that's a great thing. I thank you for the group explanation of Plebnet, how it came to be, and what it's becoming. And so with that, I suppose let's start going down the line, and we're going to start with our first reason for being bullish. I'm going to toss it to JC first. Maybe you can fill us in on what has you feeling bullish, and we'll riff on that. So take it away, friend.
Yeah, so for me, it's, I mean, I feel like we're getting into the suddenly phase of the gradually and then suddenly when it comes to Bitcoin adoption. And Lightning is really playing a huge role in that. So when I'm looking at Bitcoin today, I'm looking at the massive adoption that I'm seeing from, I mean, Plebnet is a good example, such a massive piece of the network that's come from, you know, a lot of people that were, you know, have only known or been involved in Bitcoin, or especially in Lightning anyway, in the last 6 months, 7 months. And some stuff like Zebedee that we're doing. I've got a front row seat right now, gamers around that don't know what Bitcoin is, that are organically being introduced to the concept of making money on the internet without needing a fancy bank account or whatever that accepts international currencies. They're becoming a part of the internet of money, earning Bitcoin through their skills. We're getting a lot of really good Counter-Strike players starting to see us and starting to come and make us our like the place where they come and play every day. And you know, I love getting the questions like, what's a sat? How do I put these sats in my bank account? Like, you know, what do I do with this, or what does it mean? And I'm just like, this is why I'm here, because these guys are literally organically using Bitcoin, earning Bitcoin, and it's money for them. And now, and you know, it makes sense. And now,
isn't there some guy in Brazil who's actually earning like a better living than working? You know, in a job? Like, he's
people who have messaged me talking about they've quit their job now because they're earning more playing Counter-Strike online, because the average salary in Brazil is like $150, $250 a month. And some guys, one guy, he posted on Twitter, he's made about like $2,000 in the last month and a half.
Wow.
Like insane. He's like making more than his parents, you know. It's like, and he's making it in Bitcoin. So it's like Bitcoin is becoming a big part of his life, and he previously didn't even know or care what it was, had no reason to know or care, but it's like it's invading people's lives. And this is just one, like a lot of your listeners probably didn't even know this is happening. There's so many of those things out there. On my Telegram, I'm in probably hundreds of groups, and there's so many communities, so many people building so many things. and all of them are like their own pockets of activity that are exploding, and all of that combined, it's just the great thing about Lightning is that it's the only kind of like blockchain based technology. It doesn't have a blockchain, but it's based on Bitcoin as a first layer, which is a blockchain. Obviously, it's the only kind of like, let's just say, crypto that can scale like this. Because when everybody's playing on Zebedee, or when everybody's playing on LNTX bot, or when everybody's playing on all these different things, all these different apps, all these different services, there's not like a central repo that has to be propagated to everyone. Everything can happen like in its own little bubble, and it doesn't slow anybody down. It's actually scaling already more than people realize, and Cash App is going to make a big move soon. I mean, it's only going to get crazier from here.
This is a lesson that we learned early in Bitcoin that a lot of people did not take away from it, was cramming everything on the base layer is probably not the best way to do it. And we learned it with Satoshi Dice, Eric Voorhees, basically doing poker games like that settled every settlement of a poker game was an individual transaction on the blockchain. And he basically filled it up. And there were issues there. And so taking away from that, I'd like to think in part that at least contributed to this idea of, okay, like this is clearly people knew beforehand, but that was our first kind of run in with, oh yeah, just a reminder that this isn't how networks scale. So to see that people are able to innovate and do things while observing and maintaining the sanctity of the base layer protocol without having to screw with that and build skyscrapers on shaky foundations is the beautiful thing here. And I in regards to Zebedee, I've started playing around more with that. It was the Zebedee. You guys had a big setup at Bitcoin 2021, and Des was there, and I was it was awesome. So it's really cool to see this kind of stuff happening. I love that you guys can take just a regular game that everybody plays and then kind of like layer sats into it, and you get these questions. What is a sat? And it's amazing. And sat's the standard. That just what an easy,
just across Lightning,
moment.
The whole of Lightning. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's incredible. So if anybody wants to chime in on what JC was saying about some of the new stuff, feel free to.
There's a really cool British guy actually making some games. Thunder Games, I believe, is his company. They're making some cool Lightning games. There's a great developer who's based in Switzerland, who made a game called Lightning Roulette, which many people have played. He also made a game called Lightning Poker, which he has lent to Plebnet, and we've had a Plebnet poker club that's been running at least weekly for the last maybe 3-4 months, and that's actually going to get continued, and we're going to have a Lightning Poker tournament at TabConf, which JC's company Zebedee is heavily involved in as well. So we'll be in Atlanta 4th to the 6th of November. If you want to come, please use the code Plebnet. You'll get 10% off. That's the TabConf. Hey, Ben's daughter, how's it going?
Yeah, this is, by the way, guys, this is Aria. She just got back from a late night shopping in Rhodes with mommy. Aria, can you say stack sats?
Stack sats.
All right, that's nice.
All right.
Awesome. Okay, go on with mommy. I'll see you in a bit.
my 4-year-old begs me to go to the Bitcoin meetups, and he says, "Dad, I want to talk about Bitcoin too. I want to go talk about Bitcoin." And it's like, how do I say
cute.
no to him?
Yeah, she's very familiar with seeing Bitcoin everything, and I got a video of her like a few months back with like my ridiculous Bitcoin glasses on, and she says I coaxed her into saying have fun staying poor, and she started giggling like a goofball. But yeah, it was pretty funny. Anyways, guys, sorry.
Teacher not gonna make it.
Yeah, NGMI.
That's a better
Get
one.
softer.
If you ask my son what I do, or if somebody asks what does your dad do, he says he talks about Bitcoin.
There's a
I didn't teach him to say that. Like he just came up with that.
There's so the co-founder of Bull Bitcoin, Dave Bradley, he now works with a company called Bitcoin Well, but He was my first real life person that I ever met that was in Bitcoin. He's from same city as me, and he actually had the first physical store that you on earth that you could walk into and buy Bitcoin with cash.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so I met him very early on, and then as I started the channel, he was like, "Oh, cool," and like it would kind of watch it from time to time. But he had a young kid, a son, and his son always liked watching, all the toy videos on YouTube. But the problem is, obviously, with the algorithm, like the mix of his choices and his dad watching stuff, I would always show up as like the autoplay video after his toy videos, and so he learned to hate me. He'd always be like, I don't like that guy. I don't like him. He's happening when my toys are supposed to be on. So anyways, I think he's grown up to specifically point me out, and he doesn't quite, I don't think he quite remembers why, but he knows that I interrupt fun a lot.
Yeah, that's funny. So on JC's point around, the Lightning developments, one of the things which is pretty cool, which Zebedee and team have done, and is around Lightning addresses just recently.
Yes.
And if you look at that potential of that, it's a pretty simple thing for anybody who is not familiar. It is sort of like an email ID for you. If you have an ID, say ben@btcsessions.com, I can just simply send you, for subscription to watch your YouTube, or, send a tip or buy a merchandise just by sending it to that email address. And when it launched, actually, JC and I got so excited in the middle of the night. We were just exchanging this 21 sats notional back and forth to just try it out. But just if you think about that development, is what it is doing is it is now slowly Lightning is going to get embedded in the internet stack. And instead of, and I joke about this, is that opening a phone and like scanning a QR code is cool, but it's like too much work. You click on an email ID and you send it to somebody without opening any other app is actually pretty cool. And I think with, content creators, and you are in that field of work here, Ben, content creator and fans, you just reduce the friction between the two. You don't even have to worry about setting up credit cards and debit cards and bank statements, or take permission from like Twitter or YouTube or Clubhouse. I'm not suggesting you do anything not in policy, but you get the point. Is I, as a fan of BTC sessions, I can just simply send you an email, kind of an email to an address which has got a payment in there, and say, hey, thank you for a great YouTube you did the other day. And that type of development is fascinating. And I think there is this proposal on Bolt 12 for offers that you guys have probably heard about. Those are the developments which are actually going to be mind-blowing and really bring the utility of the network to a level where it is either going to get integrated into the internet stack for day-to-day activities, and new businesses and new business models are going to evolve for everybody. And that's pretty fascinating stuff.
You've got a great point, KP, about like content creators and stuff. Like even just right now at the end of videos, before I was saying, oh, go to my tippin.me page, or now I use like my Strike page, and I say, hey, if somebody wants to drop a tip, great. And those things are great. They work beautifully, but it's, it's going through a third party, and then I'm withdrawing it to my own Lightning wallet. Something like a Lightning address, set up, linked to my own node, all of a sudden that third party disappears, and it's interoperable and easy. It's mind-blowing what that enables. And I did tinker around with the Lightning addresses. I was using it with the Zebedee wallet, actually, because I got the nod that, hey, just so you know, your username at zbd.gg is your Lightning address. And so I tested out a little bit. It works like a charm. It's amazing. It's great.
And imagine what it can do for the charity sector. For example, each time now, let's say you see a cause, but then you see, how do I make a payment? I need to text an SMS to an address which will take £5 from me, but it will deduct £4.50 for the operator. Now, if the charity puts a Lightning address or even the Lightning address, you like the cause, within one click, you have paid for the cause, and then you're guaranteed that the entire money has gone to the cause rather than the middlemen taking their own pound of flesh in between. So a lot of things will start changing with this, the new ways of payments which is coming up, which is completely decentralized.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And JC, I love that this was your topic. I think again, a great reason to be bullish. So, oh, do you have a folding phone? Of course, you're muted right now, but of course
Sorry.
you have.
Yeah, it's I just love, this is the Zebedee wallet, but all of my payments here are going to different places. Some of them are going to Telegram, some of them are going to Discord, some of them are just Zebedee to Zebedee. Via my activity, and you can send to anyone. I like, if Cash App implements Lightning addresses tomorrow,
Right.
I could just send Cash App users straight to their Cash App tab.
Right.
Cash App, you know, it's an ecosystem that's building here.
Right.
Basically, question on the Lightning address. Is it does it work with Tor?
It is an email address. You can actually, send it to any wallet which actually complies and has implemented the Lightning address. There are 4 or 5 wallets at this point of time. They have implemented and they are interoperable. And actually, that is actually another point, JC, you brought up, is it suddenly basically all of these clients, so to say, okay, they all interoperate. And that's what's the point I was making, is that is how it gets into the internet stack. You don't need to know that JC is on Zebedee wallet. I could be using my LNTX bot and be sending it to Zebedee. I could be using any other wallet, and I could be sending. It's like an email client. You could be using any email client, and you are just basically now making it seamless. So it's one of those things.
It's an open standard, essentially, is what you're saying, KP.
But
sort of, right.
Anyone can adopt.
I'm not sure that you could use Tor right now. I'm not technical enough to give you a solid answer, but I know, it requires whoever's hosting that domain to have like a domain. So
correct.
Tor gets, I don't know how that would work on Tor. I'm sure something.
Because I was thinking about how we can enable it for, say, node operators, that you could send, to a person if they're running their own node. Maybe it's coming soon.
Yeah, I mean, you could do it now, but you, at least not now, wouldn't be able to do it on Tor, because you'd have to either point to a domain or put it on a domain.
That's still like it seems like this is one of those big stumbling blocks that Bitcoin was dealing with previously, that it just makes it so much simpler to be like, oh yeah, what's your Lightning address, and just to be like, oh yeah, it's this at this, and that's it. Is so much easier. So yeah, I'm excited to see this roll out, and this can go to any platform, and yeah, I think it's fantastic. But I think, gentlemen, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, one crucial aspect when it comes to learning, I work in the education space myself, is trying to build on prior knowledge and understanding that people already have. That's very important in learning, but I think it's perhaps even more important in adoption. So KP referencing, that we can use these Lightning addresses to send money to people. Well, that's very, very similar to how they already send money to each other over, say, something like Venmo. So the kind of the conceptual process, the steps that they do are very, very similar, but in a different app.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, JC, thank you for bringing up this topic. I think it was fantastic, and we're going to keep it rolling. And I'm going to toss it to KP. KP, if you want to dive into whatever aspect of Bitcoin, of Lightning, whatever has you bullish this week, take it away.
Yeah, it's a pretty long list. So I'm just going to try to boil it down here. But something fresh in my head is you remember there is a Bitcoin Builders. You participated in that. We invite in Clubhouse. We had crypto cloaks last week in the Bitcoin Builder. And guess what? He shared with us that he could quit his corporate job some 5-6 months back, and he's doing a 3D printing of node cases for Lightning nodes across the globe. And the demand is like skyrocketing. And so the point where I'm going with this is that it is coming to a point where people can actually make a living off of various aspects in and around Lightning, which is going to emerge as different business models in these areas. The other thing is the type of people who are getting involved with Lightning. You would imagine, or you would assume that these are techies. Okay, we've got a couple in Plebnet. They are doctors. They knew nothing about command lines. Okay, they are like doctors, zero technical knowledge. They are running a Lightning node. They're not running one Lightning node. They're running two, because guess what? They wanted to have their own Lightning nodes. Good for them. And they are loving it. They are enjoying it. They have beautiful node which they are running. I'm connected to both of those, and they forward and make payments and stay busy all the time. You've got people like I was just mentioning is Bitcoiners and Lightning enthusiasts such as Dredd. He loves his country. Jamaica, roams around the world, spreading education and onboarding people. These are the types, which is going to basically help with financial inclusion and spread the word to unbanked and underbanked across the globe. It will eventually develop some sort of platforms, and a lot of things are happening across the globe. That is actually fascinating and very exciting about Lightning Network as well as Bitcoin. The other one is I don't know if you guys watched this Strike app and BitNob, transfer of remittance. It is so fascinating. If you haven't seen and if you haven't understood the behind the scenes, these are two separate companies. These are two separate apps. They never talk to each other, but they have a common thing, which is the Bitcoin network and the Bitcoin as the underlying currency. It is open network. Strike develops something, BitNob develops something. Guess what? Now they can interoperate, and you can send a remittance from here in United States to West Africa in a nanosecond. You don't have to go take any permission or leverage anything from Western Union or MoneyGram or anything else. Now, that is what actually is bullish about Lightning. And hopefully you can sense the excitement, which at least I have in these areas, where it is going to completely corner the market around remittance. In fact, I was listening to some podcast about Nigeria and West Africa. The remittance inflow is down about 27%, and it's a $4 billion market. Okay, $4 billion market. The Bitcoin volumes have gone up 250%, and it is becoming a preferred way for remittance. Okay, now that actually is, those are the kinds of things for cross-border payments and things like that. It's going to completely take off. One more last example, I'll give it to you, is so back to Rajvinder. Raj and his friends, and you probably know Jeet, they run a room for Punjabi speaking. Punjab is a region in India. It is a beautiful region. It has got its own language, and it's a nice little community. They run a clubhouse room every Wednesday morning, and they take tons of questions in the native language, and people show up. They ask all sorts of basic questions. Now, you tell me, is there any other community out there in so-called cryptocurrencies, okay, which does that? I don't think that anybody does that. And you know what? That is the power. That's the beauty of this community in terms of actually, getting people educated, onboarded, and have them understand the value of Bitcoin as the monetary store of value, and Lightning as something that you can basically, transport the Bitcoin and make Bitcoin more usable. That is very bullish to me.
That's great.
A big thing that you said there, and actually mattered a lot to me in 2018. The best part about the Lightning-focused communities, or at least Bitcoin communities are essentially becoming Lightning communities now, but they don't talk about trading. They don't talk about price. They're not there to gamble. You can find shitcoin communities, but it's a they're gambling communities. It's like, where can we load up into next? What are we going to dump on next? It's like, you know, what are the price of these things? It's everybody's like, we need more marketing, guys, get some marketing. You know, it's and I almost like 2018, I you know, I run a consulting company and I was doing work with blockchain stuff, and I had kind of you know, I'd been in Bitcoin for a long time, but when the ICO stuff started, like, I kind of got hooked a little bit in what seemed like cool technology. Of course, I learned pretty quickly how empty a lot of that stuff was, basically all of it. But actually getting back into the Lightning community, seeing the Lightning community, is what kind of got me back on track again. Like, there's actual tech here that's meaningful and works, and there's real people doing real things, tinkering, having fun, building meaningful technology instead of, you know, essentially fake stock, scammy bullshit. Sorry. I mean, it really, it was huge. And that's a key difference, KP, that you touched on.
Well, and it's like KP, you were saying, people are passionate about this stuff, so passionate that they're changing their lives to make it a permanent fixture or be a focal point of their lives, right? Like, I mean,
Right.
I've gone through it. You were talking about Dread. I love the Crypto Cloaks example, because again, they actually worked with me in the channel effectively, like when they were thinking of leading towards doing that full time. That's when I was figuring out how I would do this full time. They ended up sponsoring the show, and then as they were basically growing as a sponsor of the show, and then have gotten to a point where where they were able to also do it full time without needing a day job. And it's just, I'm so happy to see Bitcoiners not only able to live their passion, but to be building useful businesses and products that people want, and to be creating value out of it. And it's fantastic. Again, I can't say enough about the Crypto Close guys, but everything with Lightning. And what was the remittance company in West Africa you were talking about?
Bitnob.
Oh, yes. Yes. Yeah.
And
amazing.
What a cool story. What a cool story, right? It's going to go, those are the things which are going to go places. And you know, cell phones are pervasive. And somebody was mentioning actually in one of those events is that youngsters in, say, West Africa, you've got a cell phone, you've got a Bitcoin, and you've got a Lightning network capabilities, you have got a business. And guess what? It is on a monetary system which has got a huge store of value, you know, which nobody can match. It's the digital gold, and you can basically do all sorts of things. So you know, it's that kind of usage is going to catch on.
You know, I wish I was 13 years old in this world, because
too.
I had so much trouble, you know, being a kid trying to get around all this stuff to get bank accounts. I was playing games and making money on there, and just like getting money when you can't get an account. I mean, it's impossible online. It's hard. There's all these obstacles. You would have, as smart as you are, as much as you learn, you do whatever you wanted today with no obstacles.
Yeah. The borders, the roadblocks, the hurdles have effectively been removed to interact and to transact on a global scale. I really love this remittance thing that you brought up, KP, in particular, because you know, when Jack was announcing the El Salvador thing, part of the as he was talking, he was saying like, hey, this is an open network. And so anybody that's trying to be a rent seeker in between, tough shit, you know, we're gonna eat your lunch, and you're gone. And it's not even Strike that's there doing this in West Africa. Totally different company just said, hey, open network, we can interoperate with you easy. We'll jump in. We'll start doing the groundwork here. And they just did, and it just works. And there's no like, oh, we've got to get the company to come over there and start doing stuff, because that was a lot of people were saying, Jack, you got to get over to Africa and everything. He didn't need to go over there because now it just works. It's amazing. I love it.
And the more wallets we get in people's hands, the more viable some of these more niche businesses become. If everybody's got a wallet and all of a sudden, there are all kinds of really good ideas right now. Some of them aren't viable yet, and it's just because the customers aren't there yet. But as we get wallets for any reason, as more people get wallets on their phones in their hands, now all of a sudden all these things become easier for everybody, and you have a market. So it's growing so fast.
People earning on Lightning can be their on ramp, and that is very, very exciting.
We need some Lightning only stores with things that people really want to buy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's and I mean, that may be something that comes to fruition. And I think we see it, a tiny bit now where people they don't want the dollars anymore. Right. In some instances, I mean, myself included, but, you're seeing people kind of on ends of the spectrum, people that are kind of hard out, that don't have options and ways to transact out, other than Bitcoin and Lightning. And then you have people whose job it is to protect large amounts of capital now, that are also realizing, hey, these dollars are not doing their job. So, and I think that slowly makes its way to the middle. It's going to take time, but it's on its way.
Bitcoin is the only way somebody like Elon Musk gets any kind of sovereignty. Companies are going to figure it out. They need sovereignty too. They don't have to be tied to banking systems and to nations even. They could be their own empires using Bitcoin. They haven't figured it out. They're figuring it out. But when they do, that's another massive pivot.
Right. BYOB used to mean bring your own booze, and now it means be your own bank. Be your own bank.
Banking system is the #1 way to control the power in the world today, and people don't want to be controlled. And this is the way off. This is the way where you don't have to give a fuck.
Yeah, it's great. It's liberating for a lot of people, a lot of individuals that just want to protect their own self-interest, and individuals that want to help people that have previously been ignored, which is amazing. So KP, I thank you for that topic. I think it was fantastic. It gets me all riled up, and we're gonna keep it rolling, because I'm gonna toss it over to VS. Dude, I'm gonna let you take it away with your reason for being bullish. Feel free to rant away.
Exactly. I mean, for me, when I started getting my head around it, and which I could get very quickly, as I explained, by simple 1,000 sets transfer, that itself gave the biggest light bulb moment for me, was that the field is getting completely level. Like when I started my own business, and UK is a very business friendly country, but still there are procedures. My bank account opening took days, and I had to submit X amount of forms, and then they wait for 5 days, and so on. Now the field is so level that all you need is a node and a business idea. You can receive payments, you can send payments, and that's pretty much about it. And then you have the idea to start promoting it, and that I've seen things coming up, and that leveling of field itself is a great innovation in it itself, because so many ideas just get stifled simply because you can't jump the red tapes or loops. And imagine doing it. I mean, I'm from Indian background, and I've seen doing the same business there has lots of chains of commands and licenses and so on. I mean, if you make $100,000 transfer to India, the bank can actually hold it for you, and then they ask you to submit certain proofs. Why are you getting this money? I mean, it's my money, I'm getting it, what's your problem? But no, they can hold it. And that's the kind of barriers this will break. And any simple person to a multimillionaire businessman can start their own things on these platforms. So that was the one. And then bring your or be your own bank is another of the aspect. Like my own node, I've connected my entire family on it. I normally can give them pocket money on their sets, wallets. They can spend it through my own node. Secretly, I can keep it.
Does the pocket money get less each week because sats are going up in their purchasing power? Or is the number of sats constant?
One of the things I learned from KP is a sat is a sat. So I fixed it at a sat is a sat. And then I stopped thinking. That was another that initially you are constantly converting in your mind. But once you start looking, I mean, nowadays I look at the Bitcoin number and the 8-digit immediately strikes my eyes and I can immediately see how much it is. That whole 100 million concept is stuck here. So now it's very difficult to imagine it in pounds or dollars or Indian rupees or whatever. It's much simpler. So that being your own bank itself gives another way of progressing in life. You can run your entire family with, you can add your friends. If they don't want to run a node, they can run through you. The technology is there, the concepts are there, and then all you have to do is you can start spinning off these small micro businesses, charities, helping people, supporting causes. I mean, there was this Twitter post from Dread, the fruit seller in El Salvador, and he had the address. And pretty much all of us sent $2, $1, $10, just for the heck of it. And imagine all of that reaching through that person. I mean, in our banking system, that amount will be taken up by the transfer charges or so on. So these are the reasons I feel like 7 billion people, once it starts rolling out, imagine the potential it will have not only for the Bitcoin, but also for the flow of the money or the velocity of the money. And that will keep it bullish all the time. And one point I wanted to make, the last was, again on the point of sat is a sat. In Plebnet, we have 3,500 or more members. And I'm a very active member there. Not once I've seen a discussion on price. It's gone up, it's gone down. Nobody talks about it. I mean, they are more concerned about channel backup and the node and routing fees. And I mean, even the routing fees are piddly, like 2 sats, 5 sats, but they are more excited by that. Nobody says I earn 10 sats and it's just 30 cents in the dollar money or so. And that's another beauty of it. People are slowly thinking in sats rather than dollar, pounds, or rupees.
It's so refreshing. It's so refreshing because like you get into like crypto Twitter, that's all it is, right? It's like JC was talking about earlier, it's gambling and it's trying to earn dollars. Bitcoiners, I think once they really go down that rabbit hole, particularly and you know, latch onto something like Plebnet or you know, start diving into Lightning and start seeing what's actually happening there, it's just a totally different ethos. And VS, to your point of kind of like the ease of access, the accessibility for all. I mean, this has been kind of the ethos of Bitcoin through all of its development, not just in access to payments and be your own bank, but like access to the base layer protocol and keeping, again, the sanctity of that so that anybody can download and fully verify the entire chain themselves while also building on top of it. And that's what gets missed by a lot of these other projects is, well, you know, go run an Ethereum node. Oh, that's going to be a hell of a time trying to get that thing up and running, right? And you know,
you'll have to run 2 nodes. You'll have to run 2 nodes.
Yeah. Wonder which for, I guess ask Vitalik.
Yeah, how much is that AWS subscription there? I'm not sure.
So Jimmy Song came on I think Gate crashed a Bitcoin opinion room a few weeks ago, and he talked about how that he sees Lightning. He's incredibly bullish on Lightning. He sees Lightning as being the foundational layer for this Web 3.0. VS talked about how Lightning is enabling individuals to be sovereign. And I think not only, you know, obviously we have this sovereign money, but what Lightning enables is a sovereign payments network, or rather at least a decentralized payments network, where instead, you're no longer processing payments through Visa, MasterCard, American Express on the internet by paying with a credit card. You're sending sats on Lightning from your wallet to someone else's wallet via a few hops that you don't see, and gets done in a fraction of a second you don't even know about. And it's and this is phenomenal. This is so empowering for individuals all across the world who have ideas that they want to, show the world over the internet. And finally, this is now possible for them.
And actually, yeah, VS, again, to your the whole kind of umbrella of what you're talking about, extend that out to Lightning, and the very idea that Plebnet can exist, that people can just get together and be like, hey, how do we can you guys teach me how I become a part of providing liquidity to this global liquidity pool with the soundest money people have ever seen? Like, in what world is that possible? And here it is, and it's accessible to anybody. Just anybody can jump in and be like, I'm gonna route payments around the globe from my basement in my bedroom with a tiny little box. Like, it's insane to me.
It is, and the getting in is so frictionless. It is not as if there was one question yesterday we were going back and forth. And by the way, that Plebnet Telegram group discussions are phenomenal. Like, it's very, very heartwarming to see different types of discussion. One of them was, the getting in is so easy. You need a Raspberry Pi, and you need a willingness to learn. And most of the time, people who are onto Bitcoin, they have the discipline about the low time preference, and to basically say, hey, I don't know, and ask the right questions, and they get into it, and then they ask the questions. And there are folks who have learned, and they help everybody out into getting onboarded. But the point I'm making is that it is so frictionless. You don't have to take anybody's permission. You don't have to say, hey, I've got X thousand of this money, and I am rich, and hence I can set up and you connect to me. No, it is a great equalizer. If you don't have the discipline to actually run a decent node, it doesn't matter how many Bitcoins you have. I know actually there are nodes who are less than average size node, which I rattled off. Okay, they have boss scores, which is like a really, really top-notch ranking node. So you can actually run stuff in a way, with basically no, staking kind of a practice in place. It is not. It is a very great equalizer. You can actually come in and you can actually be part of the network, and you can do all the stuff that we have been talking about. You can start helping, some charity. There was a charity on Bitcoin Smiles a couple of weeks back, they were looking for inbound liquidity. Guess what? You have a channel, some sats available. You open a channel to them, and guess what? They're going to do some phenomenal work of charity in El Salvador with dental care program. So these kinds of things. And then guess what? I didn't have to take any permission from anybody. I wanted to send some sats to them. Guess what? I didn't go to a bank like VS was saying. They could have asked me 50,000 questions. They would have taken 60% or 70% or 50, whatever percentage as a cut. And guess what? On the other side, they just received it instantly. The person actually sends me a thank you message on Telegram bot, and we are good to go, right?
Yeah, I did donate to that Bitcoin Smiles thing. If anybody that's listening or watching, take a look on Twitter. I think they're getting pretty close to their goal of fundraising as well. But BitcoinSmiles.org is there a website? I
believe so. Yeah, I think it is. But yeah,
I mean,
but the point is, that's the level of flexibility you have got, and and then the other thing is, if you are good at, say, developing hardware, right? Like, look at Star9 Embassy team, what they are doing. They're passionate. You talk to, Chris, and you talk to Keegan in our Telegram group. We had them on our Bitcoin builders. We get all the great builders, okay, in our Bitcoin builders team, right? In the event. they are passionate about what they do. And guess what? They are building great hardware. You have got folks like, Gridflare and Small L&D World. They're developing tools which will help node runners actually run and manage their nodes efficiently in the Lightning Network. What is the incentive they have? I wonder about it. And when you watch them, the incentive which I can read is they're passionate about it. They believe in it. They know it. They are technically strong and they are good at what they're doing, and they are contributing into the network in something which they are good at. Okay, that is actually Lightning Network, to you, basically.
Right, Bitcoiners have a huge passion for learning and a huge passion for giving back or passing on what they have learned. Quite often you get people joining Plebnet and say, oh, I don't know how to do this. And you get one person stepping up saying, well, I actually didn't know how to do it last week, but now I'm basically an expert and can talk you through it because I've just learned how to do it from not having, a technical background. And so we have so many different kinds of people that can help absolutely anyone who comes into the space, if they have that passion for learning as well. Ben, I don't know if I can segue into my topic, which is very closely linked to this.
Before you do, I just want to say you just perfectly described my channel because that's all I do. I'm like, oh, I just learned how to do this thing. I guess I'll do it once more with a camera and some gusto. That's pretty much it. Like I literally I sat down for an hour and a half with Nate, B for Bacon one, and he walked me through setting up a Lightning node. I was like, wow, there's a lot there. And I took notes, and then I just recorded myself doing it after. And that was pretty much that. But like, that's what it is. Some people just want a little bit of hand holding, and then they can do it. And I think that's the key. Most people, they think that they can't do it until they see somebody do it. And then they're like, oh, I can do that. Can you just kind of like reassure me and like give me a nod and a smile to make sure that I'm doing it okay? But yeah,
right. I gave you an example of two doctors, right? They don't know anything technology. Guess what? They can do it. So a lot of the folks can do it. Go ahead, Walton.
So what makes me bullish this week is Bitcoiners' passion for learning, and them wanting to pass it on. And I'd like to actually couple that concept with something else that a lot of Bitcoiners want, which is trying to maybe either join some sort of Bitcoin business or build their own Bitcoin business. And I think one area that really, really, really could make a difference is if Bitcoiners across the whole world try to teach their community, their neighborhood, the businesses that they interact with on a regular basis about Bitcoin, about its potential, and specifically about Lightning, because Lightning will probably be the way in which those local businesses can start to take Bitcoin payments. Now, there's a number of different ways that they can do that, and certainly they can start with something like a custodial Lightning wallet or a non-custodial Lightning wallet on their phone. Something like Breeze, perhaps, or Moon, or Wallet of Satoshi. And certainly Breeze, I think, is probably one of the best ones because it has a point of sale functionality within it already. So they could, literally in a matter of minutes be able to start taking Lightning payments at whatever business they have. And so Bitcoiners need to be going out into their communities, talking to these local businesses and say, okay, you may have heard about Bitcoin. I want to help you open up your audience of potential customers to include a new group, one whose purchasing power over time is increasing, one group who wants to spend using that currency, using that technology. So it's beneficial to the business owner because they could be taking more money than previously, but also these especially small businesses, they pay so much money to Visa, to MasterCard, to American Express, or to middlemen who are essentially paying those fees. they might pay up to 2% on a transaction, on a credit card transaction. If someone pays in Lightning, it's essentially nothing. So, okay, it's not a huge amount, but they're 2% richer then. They're generating 2% extra revenue without having to really pay any money to invest in the technology, without having to ask permission. And if they do want to have maybe a little bit more sovereignty over how they do that, then yes, they can spend maybe $200, £200, something like this, and set up their own node. So maybe if you're a Bitcoiner out there, you're hugely passionate about learning and about teaching about Bitcoin, and you're wanting to try and deliver some value, maybe you create a business, go see if you can try and create your own consulting business, helping local businesses adopt Lightning as a payments technology.
I wanted to just mention something about what you were talking about and we were kind of discussing this a little bit before we did the show, but we're kind of getting back to the roots of where Bitcoin started. Now that Lightning exists and enables that original promise of peer-to-peer electronic cash, right? Mm-hmm. And so, a lot of people really latched onto that idea early, but couldn't get past the fact that you need to scale for that in certain ways. And so we saw a lot of splits over that. We saw a lot of different, marketing around transactions per second. And there was early pushes for merchant adoption and everything at a time when it probably wasn't the right time to be pushing for that. But now it's actually possible and it actually works at scale. And so, and I think for me, seeing those Lightning transactions, experiencing once again, it gave me that sense of awe that I had when I first tried Bitcoin years ago, and seeing, oh wow, it worked, it's here. And so yeah, it's kind of this weird back to basics, like, okay, like we're ready for this thing that we thought we were ready for back then, that everybody that's working on other projects thinks they're ready for now, but we'll soon find out they're not. Bitcoin is actually ready for it. And I love to see it. So panel, feel free to chime in here.
Exactly. I mean, each time, let's say a workman comes to the house, like a plumber or a roofer or so, I started asking them the question, do you take Lightning? I mean, first of all, maybe they don't understand, or they say what it is. At least it sparks their interest. And then next question is, okay, how do I do it? And then I say, okay, you can do Breeze. Maybe that particular payment I might still do pounds, but it's left a thought in their mind, and they can go home and see. And for them, taking the payment on a, let's say, bank or a card, then it's always that 2%, and Walton talks about 2%, but being from payment industry, we know it is a lot more. Then there are this invoice financing, there is a 30-day credit program. It ends up becoming almost 6 to 8%. I mean, we used to run an online business via PayPal, and by the time you collect everything, it comes down to 9%. So
oh my God,
that can be immediately removed, and you are now getting the full value of your payment instantaneously. There is no waiting for 10-minute blocks or whatever. You can pay for your coffee. You can probably buy a car. I mean, eventually it will come to a point where you can buy a car as well. So that is very liberating thought, and it's also cutting down this entire wastage, I would call it. I mean, it is running a lot of financial industry around it, but that cuts are a waste. It's actually a tax on top of the tax you already pay. So it's changing. It's changing the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and in the underbanked and unbanked, which is the financial inclusion part of this, which is the reason actually which attracted my interest in this, is if you think about that, across the globe, there are like, I think, 6 billion plus phones. Okay. And if you go to countries like, my native country of India, you have phones across the board. Everybody has one. not necessarily everybody has a bank account. I think the number of bank account is in the world is way less than the number of cell phones out there. Now, if you think about the outreach based on this technology, and the technology sort of like exists, and we know this, but I think people listening to this, they shouldn't forget that the underlying monetary policy of this, which is the Bitcoin, is the key. And that actually, when you start transporting on the Lightning Network, it changes the game altogether. And that is exactly what is happening. So to underbanked and unbanked, and for the whole financial inclusion part of it, it is such a powerful tool. And if you look at the example of El Salvador, that fruit vendor was not actually trying to get Bitcoin to actually trade, or they were not going to actually get attracted to it because of an ETF. They were not even interested, or they didn't even know. All they were trying to do, in my opinion, is accept payment for something which they want to sell so that they can actually go get some food for their family at the end of the day. That was the simple transaction. It is a human being transaction. And in comes Lightning, in comes a mobile phone, and guess what? It changes the world for them. It is same thing is going to start happening. There is a story I had read, pretty powerful one, during COVID. There is a sister in California. Her family is in Mexico. They could not send money because the sister in Mexico needed some surgery, and MoneyGram and everything was closed. They couldn't send money. She went to a Bitcoin ATM, gets a Bitcoin, and sends that Bitcoin to the sister in Mexico for a surgery. Now, these kinds of use cases where folks who are not able to use the existing financial services which everyone assumes basically to be given is a pretty powerful thing. And that's basically what excites me in this field is you are now giving a hope to somebody who doesn't have a bank account to actually store a value of their service which they provide, or something which they grow in their backyard and sell it to somebody. Now they can store it into a monetary value for thousands of years, practically speaking. That actually is a wonderful thing. And Ben, that is like super bullish. If somebody doesn't get excited about that, what else you want to get excited about?
JC, do you want to tag anything on there?
I mean, it's hard to add. It's so, everything. That's why we're bullish, man.
I love it. I think that's an excellent note to kind of start wrapping on. This has been a hell of a conversation. This was like all-star panel because you guys came with the fire this week. I love having the Plebnet folks down this way. I'm super happy that you all came. I think the way I'd like to kind of wrap this episode is we'll go down the line. You guys can once again say who you are, where to find you. But I'm going to ask each one of you to throw in a call to action, which would be something to try, something to do, something to read, anything that you think somebody watching this could get something positive out of by doing. I want you to throw in that call to action. So we'll go down the line again, who you are, where people can find you, and a call to action. So JC, how about you?
All right. Well, a little biased as I work for Zebedee, but I think a great call to action would be to come play Counter-Strike on our servers and get some free Bitcoin. Earn some Bitcoin there. Even if you're not that good, just come check it out, get the wallet, and see how Bitcoin is used in the real world for something other than gambling and trading. It's just as a money on the internet. You can find me on Twitter, Barack Obama. It's like Barack Obama, but the M and the B are switched. I've got the links to Zebedee there in my bio. But then, tomorrow, this is airing, this is Saturday now. Tomorrow on Sunday, we're doing a big event. We usually do once a month. We're giving over 10 million sats away in like 1 or 2 hours time. So that's quite a bit of money. Come get a piece, even if you're not that good. You're going to walk away with some Bitcoin just for being there and hanging out and showcasing the technology with us. So that's one easy way. I think that'd be a lot of fun to kind of just get your feet wet.
Awesome. Check them out. Yeah, and I'll try and peek in if I can. KP, how about you?
So
take away.
One of the things which I would request a takeaway for anybody listening in is, hey, go download one of the Lightning wallets. Anything which excites you, there are plenty. If you get confused, just pick Moon, Zebedee, Breeze, Blue Wallet, any one of them. Make a transaction, a small amount, 10 sats. Pick 21. 21 is a great number for Bitcoin. Do that transaction. It will change your perspective about what this technology is, and it will give you probably a thirst or a hunger for further education. And then come join Plebnet and participate in having discussion. And you can find me on Twitter. I'm at Shukla, SHUKLA. You can also find me on our Plebnet discussion group, and that's the way you can get hold of me.
Awesome. VS, how about you? Call to action and let people know where they can find you.
Yeah, I think KP stole mine. I would have told people to download at least one wallet so that if not, they can send, they can at least receive. That itself will be giving them a power. Like if you are a plumber, electrician, restaurant owner running a shack on the Greenwich Park, get something, you can receive it. That itself will get you into the thing. So now that wallet is taken by KP, I would say go to the next step. Run your own node. It's not difficult, it's simple. And then come to Plebnet. You will find all the assistance to make you run your own node, if not for routing, at least for receiving and sending payments. So that will change everything for you. You can find me on Twitter, VS_trader, or come to Plebnet. I go by the same name, VS there. You can't miss me. Apparently, I talk a lot there.
Awesome. And Walton, you're up last. Yeah.
So my request for those of you out there that maybe do want to learn more, but maybe online for whatever reason isn't your preferred method of learning, then what you must do is you must come to the Atlanta Bitcoin conference. That's TabConf. You can find it at tabconf.com. It's the 4th to the 6th of November in Atlanta at the Georgia World Congress Center. If you use the code Plebnet, you will get 10% off tickets. And the reason you should be there is because Plebnet will be co-hosting a really, really, really cool space, an educational space with Start9, the awesome guys, Chris Geeter over there, and all those guys. There's going to be this space called Digital Independence Village, where Start9 and some Plebnet volunteers are going to be helping you to take that next step in your digital independence journey. Now, that may be just adopting a Lightning wallet, or maybe how you can start running your own Lightning node. And if you can't wait until November, all you need to do is go to kycjelly.com. That's kycjelly.com, and join the Plebnet Telegram group. I look forward to seeing you there.
Exciting. I'm gonna have to try and get down there, man. I
come on in.
Really gonna have to try and make that happen. It seems that things are heating up again. There's a lot of events coming down the pipeline, so I'm sounds like I'm gonna be on the road a little bit. Yeah.
That's gonna be the one, I think, for like real people, not shitty,
There's a lot of events, I think, that that a number go up, but TabConf is really going to be about education, really going to be about the technical fundamentals and enabling sovereignty for the individual. So yeah, you better be there.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, gentlemen, I will say it one more time. Thank you so much for being on. Anybody that's watching, of course, all of these guys, their Twitter profiles are linked in the show notes. So give those a click, follow everybody here, and through the rabbit hole, you can find all of the things that they have been talking about on this show. You guys are welcome back anytime. Thanks again.
Thanks, Ben. See you guys.
Thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. If you're on the pod afterwards, please, if you're on YouTube, do hit like, subscribe, share, all those things. Again, really do help getting more people to the channel. If you want to help out the channel another way, hit up the previously mentioned sponsors down below. LEDN, Bitbuy, Bitrefill, Keystone, BillFodl, all of them are down there. And if you really liked what you saw, you can always hit me up with a Bitcoin tip at my Strike page. That is strike.me/BTC sessions. When you get there, you can type in any amount you like. You hit the tip button and you will be greeted with a Lightning QR code, or if you so desire, click to the right and you'll be greeted with a regular Bitcoin QR code. With that, I am out. Have yourselves a wonderful day or evening wherever you may be, and I'll see you guys next time for your daily session.
HODL the Bitcoin.